Do you have permission to rest, be refreshed, and even have childlike play in God's presence? Or have you been sucked in by the tide of the culture that demands that we constantly live on the brink of burnout and exhaustion? I have one big encouragement for us today from God's Word. There is a very provocative picture painted, but very life-giving, in Luke 5:15 and 16 about how Jesus handled these kind of pressures. It says, "But now, even more, after Jesus is doing all these incredibly good things, the report about him spread abroad, and great crowds gathered to hear him and to be healed of their infirmities. But he would withdraw to desolate places and pray." The picture painted is that in the midst of what we might call like a revival breaking out, crowds gathered to hear him, to be saved, healed, and delivered. It says, but he would withdraw, but he would walk away, but he would leave to go be alone with the Father. What is Jesus doing? How does he have permission to do that? I think John 5:19 is the key where Jesus said, the Son can do nothing apart from the Father, but he only does what he sees the Father doing. That's Jesus showing us that none of us, not even the Son, are made to live apart from communion with the Father. And we don't live to bow down to the pressures of the culture. And it's even hearkening back to that primal creative order where God says, Sabbath is where life begins. That yes, we're made to work and be productive, but life begins at Sabbath, in that rest in God's presence, the communion with God, even childlike, refreshing play in God's presence is the default position, the starting place of life. And from there, we go out and reflect God's goodness into the world by being fruitful and multiply and creative and productive. And so my encouragement to you today is find that permission to rest and have childlike play and be refreshed in God's presence, and let that be the starting place of life from which you go out and work and be productive.